Nice. All right. Let's see what we've got today. Finished one of the shoulders and the torso last time. So let's knock out the other one. Should be a nice quiet day at work today, which means I start with good vibes and a model, and then I live through it with good vibes and another model. Then I come home and I crash like a king sometime early in the morning, and I wake up and I come back here again. And that's not a bad way to live. We're going to keep this guy close at hand, because we're going to use him again here in a few. Snip. Get that slope right, snip. Snip, and then we'll rotate. This is one of those parts we cut farther away, just like last time. Nice. Close cut. Nice. There we go. Okay. No knife there. Just a little bit here. Cut that down. Good to go. And cut and cut. And cut and cut. Gotta be careful with that one later. Bandai has done a fantastic job over the years of really improving the quality of their kits, both instruction-wise, design-wise, detail-wise, but also plastic-wise. Unfortunately, sometimes this means that you get really, really nice quality plastic, and it's kind of soft, which is great. It looks good, it feels good, but you got to be super, super careful when you cut it out, and even more so when you sand it, because instead of shaving off plastic, you're almost tearing it off. So that's what those super high grade sanding sticks and sanding pads are really good for. Just a nice, gentle approach. Oh yeah. Well, I don't like working on the same part more than once. It's an inevitability with things like arms and legs. And it's faster the second time around, every time. Because you already know what you're getting into, right? You've got the same set of directions just mirrored, so when you go to cut the parts out, you know, hey, I need this, 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 and this. Snip, snip, good to go. And you also know, hey, this is going to be visible, this isn't. So I need to worry about this part, but not that part. And that saves a lot of time, too. I'm generally overly cautious. And I sand every exposed face. Again, you know, because it makes me feel good. So I guess I say overly cautious, but like, it's still, you know, it's still zen. I'm having a good time. But I don't love every kit, right? Not equally. I'm biased. We all have our favorites. Sometimes I'll be working on one where I go, oh man, this arm is tedious. I'm not looking forward to working on it a second time. So if I don't have to shave and sand down every exposed surface, I won't. I will skip what I can afford to. GunPla is freedom is a pretty common phrase in the community. Time is money is a universal fact. Money equals GunPla. And sanding takes time. So, if somebody wants to do the math on that one and get back to me, I don't know how it works out, but I'm pretty sure I'm being shortchanged somewhere while working on this. There we go. Nice straight edge. Keep it the same way the whole way through. Hot damn. There's that last one. Ooh, it's tiny. That'll be easy. Bum, bum, bum. Cool. Sometimes it can be tricky to tell if you've got something fully sanded down. And despite your best efforts, you won't know it until you go to apply a coat of paint. And then you find out, oh no, it's not flush. So you gotta sand off that layer of paint and work the thing down a little more. That's what things like filler are for. It really helps keep a good level surface. I fully recommend like a leveler primer if you ever need to do any airbrushing. Helps fill in those gaps. Good for larger things like this. I'm not sure it would be as good for something like Warhammer, because those, you know, those small models, you don't want to lose the detail on them. And that's what filler is trying to do, right? It's trying to hide those small details and imperfections that you may have accrued while cleaning up a kit. we go. I think I mentioned him yesterday, but I have a coworker who's great at 3D printing. Makes some really cool stuff. Puts a lot of care into, you know, the details that his printers are putting out and his models are coming out as. And he came into work the other day. Presumably, he and I are on different shifts. He brought into work a gauntlet, like a, not biomechanical, but, you know, historic fantasy meets sci-fi future. Looked almost like a robotic hand combined with a gauntlet with a skull on it. And I saw that and I went, oh, that's cool. So, didn't ask him. I grabbed it off of one of the tables it was sitting on in our workplace and painted it up. And I want to say it took me like 6 hours because I'm not great at painting. I'm not fast when it comes to hand painting. But it's sitting at work right now, and I should probably grab a rattle can or something and take that thing outside on my lunch break and kind of top coat it, because it's going to get fondled by everybody there and lose those coats. Top coating is important if you want to preserve your color in your work. And not only that, but you can get a really, really nice additional finish just from top coating. A good gloss or a good matte finish on something can add a whole bunch of pop, of zest, of personality to a kit. It could really differentiate factory new versus, hey, that's been on the battlefield. Even if you don't paint your kits, top coat them. Practice on something cheap first, of course. Learn your distances, learn how long it takes to dry, learn what it should look like, and wear gloves. You don't want fingerprints on your model. Not if you can help it. Speaking of detailing and touching up your model, goodness, sorry. There are panel liners you can use. And what a panel liner is, you know, it's just another name for a pen wash. You can take some paint or ink, you can thin it down, and you can get it to run within some small crevices. So I'll get you guys a good example here in a moment once I finish this section up. But what that ink does is it travels throughout the model's panel lines, right? So if I were to drop some into a part like this, where it's got a bunch of vents side to side, and you can see it vaguely from there, that ink will run through every surface it can without resistance. So you can get a lot of good detail, but you want to be careful that you don't oversaturate something. With the ones that Tamiya makes, for example, those are my favorite. You gotta be careful because it is enamel based, so it can embrittle your part, and especially if you're putting it on like thin areas where you have panel lines already, it's a little less dense. If you're not careful and you do that, it can lead to cracking or breaking down the road. So how you prevent that is top coats. Top coat your model first, so you have a layer of protection between your model and that enamel ink, and it'll give you a nice, good finish. But you need to make sure that if you're going to do panel liners, even if you... Where'd it go? I felt it land on the chair. There it is. Top coat with gloss if you intend to do a panel liner. That way your panel liner runs nice and smooth. And then if you're going to do matte, you top coat with matte after the panel liner, because matte top coats are designed to diffuse light, right? It gives it a duller shine, by basically settling nice and fragmented, like piles of glass. It's not sharp, it's not dangerous. But when you try to run panel liner over something like that, the panel liner is going to do the same thing light is. It's going to go willy-nilly, left and right, everywhere. So keep that in mind. But you don't have to top coat if you don't want to. If you want to just toss some panel liner on a model kit, by all means do it. I've done it. I have cracked a couple models in the long run, but I have more that are still okay as well. So have fun with it. Don't stress it. Practice. There are a lot of little ways that you can really add a lot of life to a model kit that you've got. Ranging from just adding the stickers that you have in the box to your kit, to panel liners, painting, a little bit of weathering. You can do that with some dry brushing, and we'll go over that down the road. You can get yourself some good third-party decals if Bandai doesn't make what you need already in the box. Give your kit even more life. LEDs, a cool base, choices, right? There are so many things you can do. Next time you work on a model, think about what you want it to look like, where it should be in the world. And see if you can add a little touch of something that makes it more of what you envision. Spice up your work. Using 5000 grit sanding sponge is, I think, my favorite thing. It's satisfying, it's smooth. You've already done most of the work, and now you're just bringing it back up to a good level. Oh, great color. My first competition, when I was invited by one of the gentlemen that taught me how to really start bringing life to my models, I went with a bunch of individuals, you know, in the community from Arkansas. But I also, I drove there specifically with him and with his son. And we had a good time. But I was so excited. And again, you know, ADHD, that childlike whimsy. I had a model kit with me to work on while I was out there too. I was working on it in the car because it's like a 10-hour road trip. Most of the competitions I've been to weren't close. And I lost a single part into the depths of his vehicle. It fell down underneath the carpet and through a hole in the floorboards in his vehicle. Part was gone forever. All that to say, if you're going to work on a model, do it in the right environment. And if you're working on something you're really interested in, make sure that you, again, you know, have your area prepared so that if something tries to leap into the void, you've given it less opportunities to do so. Lay down, you know, a plastic floor mat so you can hear it hit the ground or you can see it more easily. Keep a flashlight on hand. Yada yada. This is the other side, so let's get the orientation right. It's going to look like this. That's going to go right here. Nice. 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 Good, so those push a little farther in, they can be pulled out to adjust. I forgot my sticker. You know what? I look at those tweezers. Stand by for a sec. All right. God, I love water. Okay. Two sets of tweezers, different head sizes, shapes, good for different stickers. Nice. Same problem as before. The sticker wants to hold on too tightly to the the tweezers. We want as little surface area as possible. Let's grab that Q-tip as well. Why are you spinning on your side, bud? That's not what I wanted out of you. I have another slightly more suitable pair of tweezers for things like this where you really can't get that straight on and you need an angle. Somebody made a great comment on a server that I'm in last night, and that is getting into modeling builds the strangest toolboxes. You start finding things that you've collected just to have, just in case, right? Like a dad who's got that one piece of wood block that he used for something way back when, and he went, this will be useful again someday. I think I have somewhere a piece of insulation foam coated in super glue on one side, multiple layers, that I used to prop something up at just the right angle so that I could use both of my hands. It's still in my closet. I found it last night. I'll never use it again. I need to get rid of it. And if I do need it, I could just... I'm sure I could make something more suitable nowadays. Okay. So right now we have something that looks like a piece out of Star Trek. Let's not forget our little underside wing here. Sand slowly. Again, the smaller your surface area, the less work you really need to put in. Because all that pressure and sanding is going to be focused into one area. It's going to happen faster than you might expect. Nice. Pop that in there. Ta-da! Okay. Nice. Let's take a look and see what they've got next for us. So, this will be the body, but currently is the emergency escape pod for the variation of the Hazel known as the Primrose. We got the stickers on there. Ah, two last pieces. Let's really flesh it out now. So I was talking previously about panel liners and how they'll run through panel lines that you have or any open pathways and give you a lot of detail. Let's find a good example, something nice and visible real fast. Not on there. I want to show you guys something before I get ahead of myself. Ah, rad. So on a piece like this, you can see that it has some natural lines in there already. Some little dots. Some lines that are built in. Some more right here. It's going to get peeved about focusing on that. You can see him in there. Or this guy, for example. That ink is going to have a defined area where to go. So you're going to apply it. I'll show you how to do that later. And it's going to settle in there. You're going to let it dry. It's going to look great. And sometimes you'll need to apply more than one. Always go lighter first, because if you apply too much at once, again, you are embrittling your plastic. But it's also going to take longer to dry. With a piece like this, you've got a lot of really nice edges and curves, but there's one panel line right here in the corner that you can see faintly. And we've got a small square on the side here that it could settle into. But the rest of these don't actually have any indentations. So if I were to apply panel liner here, it's going to go everywhere. Yes, I've got an edge, but there's nowhere for the ink to settle into. So when I talk about panel liner, Tamiya specifically, I'm talking about these guys. Panel line icing color. They've got gray, light gray, dark brown. Different panel liners look good on different colored parts. So you want to find one that's appropriate for you. Or, realistically, you can just work with black and have a lot of fun with it. That's what I do most of the time. But on a part like something that's pure white, I'll use a gray or a light gray. You gotta shake them up if you haven't used it in a while. They will kind of coagulate. Shake, 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 shake. I've seen individuals that have these little paint bottle oscillators. Plug it in, you kind of apply the edge of the paint bottle to it, and it just vibrates it to high heck, breaking up any clumped up pigmentation, anything like that. And I bet that would work great for this. So I should probably look into getting one. Wouldn't be very stream suitable because that is a noisy, shaky boy. But anything to save myself from having to do this for 2 or 3 minutes. So, before I do this, one thing to keep in mind, right? I talked about top coats and applying panel liner over a top coat, gloss versus matte. If you apply a panel liner, and these are enamel, right? You can make them out of acrylic paints, you can make them out of lacquer paints, but in this case I'm using an enamel one. This isn't my field of expertise. I need to do more research tonight, and this is a great chance to now. But there are different levels of heat when it comes to paint. Acrylic is a water-based paint. There's no chemical heat there to it. Enamel is hotter than acrylic-based paint and can melt the acrylic-based paint below it. Lacquer is hotter than enamel and acrylic. And lacquer will boil your acrylic paint. Most of the painting that I do is actually with acrylic paints. I use Vallejo for the most part. And sometimes I'll also use Tamiya's paints. If I put down a panel liner and I want to airbrush over it later, it's not going to sit properly on top of the enamel. So you have to remain cognizant of that. Don't panel line something you want to paint down the road, or you're going to give yourself obstacles. I'm sure there's a way to work around it. I haven't discovered it personally because I haven't gone out of my way to do so. Once I learned about that the first time, I made sure I was very cognizant of it for the future. So, what I want to do is show you guys. I think I have an MGSD Barbados behind me that I haven't panel lined. I do. Fantastic kit, by the way. If you're interested at all, these things are so much fun. Okay. That's a good part. We're gonna go like this, we're gonna go like this. Release the sword. Please and thank you. You've been holding onto it for too long and now it's melded with you. I get it. I understand. But the sword is mine now, so give it up. Nice. So, you can see the sword has some indentations there. We're going to zoom in a little farther. Oop, 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 oop. So a few curves, a few crevices. I'm going to take this guy. We're going to shake it up just a little bit more. So, hold it upright, unscrew the lid. The lid has an applicator built into it. So we have a brush right here. Also, well-ventilated areas, again. This applicator stores ink in the, I guess we'll call it the stem, or the shaft there. If you touch the edge of it and push down just a little bit, I can't do this at an angle very well. If you touch the edge of this right here, right next to where the bristles are, it'll drain some of that excess ink out of there. You don't want too much, because as soon as you apply it, it's going to go everywhere. So less is more again. So I have very little in here right now. And I'm just going to touch it right here. I'm going to hold it there for a second. I'm going to let it do its thing. You can see that difference immediately, right? Not too much. A good dark gray little contrast. And you can see it's run around the corner here, right up to where the line is between the two halves. Come on, buddy, you can focus for me. So, we're going to do this whole thing real fast, because I don't intend to bake this kit. Get some on there. Get some on there. Dip, dip. Touch the edge over here. Drain off any excess so I don't accidentally tap it and bleed it. When I say tap it and bleed it, if you touch the edge of this applicator, where the shaft meets the bristles, it will discharge all of the ink that's in this shaft. And that sounds funny up until it happens and you're not expecting it to, and you have ink all over your part. So be careful, bristles only. Again, we're gonna get this whole guy. I'm not gonna get the edge there, because if I try to, it's just gonna run into the half between the two parts, and it's not gonna be any use to me. But I have it a little bit on both sides here. You want to make sure you get it as even as possible, ink saturation and density wise, so that the parts look the same. One side isn't darker than the other. So while I'm doing this, sometimes I'm getting it right in there into the area I want inked up, and sometimes I'm touching the edge of the plastic. I'm going to let this dry. It's not going to take long because there's not a lot of ink there. I'm going to show you how we clean that up. Let's zoom back out a little bit there. So while this dries, I've got it sitting there so it's not actually touching any of the plastic. I have another fun tool here. So the tool in question is a chisel for scribing. And if you're not familiar with scribing, I'm going to make some lines. So this tool is small. It's not a blade. Mostly. You can see there's a very, very slight differentiation in the tip of the metal. It's because it's angled up ever so minimally. This is titanium, so it's not likely to break, snap, flex. But it is thin, right? So if I drop it on the ground, or if I'm not careful with the way I'm using it, you can absolutely break these. I have in the past. This specific brand that I'm a huge fan of, BMC chisels, they're not cheap to replace, so I got myself a nice holder for it, because otherwise it's just a piece of metal That looks like this. You can absolutely use it like this, but get yourself a nice, sturdy little holder. These are also cheap. Get an $8 piece of plastic for your $80 piece of metal. Put the lid back on carefully so I don't bump it against metal to metal. There are other chisels out there. They're much cheaper. Last I remember, I want to say the brand was called Mad Cats. They make their own. I'm showing you this so that I can show you this. So I have this part that I like a lot, but it doesn't have anywhere for me to hide or insert panel liner so that it can run smoothly. I want to use this bottom edge here. I want to get some in between these two halves. Let's move this. I like to brace my arms while I work on this. We're going to move extra blades out of the way so I'm not setting myself on anything I shouldn't be. Move some runners. So I'm going to prop myself up here a little bit. And very gently, I'm going to take... There we go. I'm going to take this bottom edge, and I'm going to drag it across the surface of the plastic. Don't poke yourself with this. This will go into your skin, easily. But you're going to find yourself a flat edge that's already present, and you're going to just drag it across gently. You're going to create a small scratch. You go slowly so that you don't overshoot, because if you overshoot, you have to correct. And if you have to correct, that's more time spent fixing something. I'm going to go over this a couple times. Let's dust that away there. And you can see, if you get a good look in there, you can see there's some curled shavings. Yep, there we go. Kind of pulling up away from the plastic. This is just scoring and pulling up on the plastic to create that divot. But you really got to go gently and you got to go slow. Speed isn't a factor here. It's all about light repetitions. If you go too aggressively, you will score the edges of the plastic in a way that takes a lot of sanding and buffering to get smooth again. This is a great way to practice scribing. You can actually do it at the back end of something like an X-Acto knife if you have extra blades, which you can get a lot of blades. They're very cheap. I have 300 of them sitting next to my right leg right now. I think I got it for like 12 bucks. Nice. So we have a nice thin line scored right now. I'm going to go over it 1 or 2 more times. Take my brush back here. So without my magnifying eye set on, I'm not going to be able to see if there's anything overtly wrong. But what I can do now is I can show you what this is going to look like. There are my lids. Never leave a chisel just floating around. If you're not actively using it, cover it back up. You don't want to break it. This one specifically is a 0.2mm chisel. There are bigger ones, there are smaller ones, but it doesn't really get much smaller without being impractical at that point. So, we're going to use this gray panel liner again. And I'm going to show you what it looks like when you don't have something to run it against, and I'm going to show you what it looks like when you do now. So, I haven't created any lines on this side. Okay. I'm going to apply the ink. It's going to travel along the edge a little bit, but right now it's just pooling. It looks good because this already has like a nice consistent curve, but a lot of the times if it's a more shallow curve, that ink will go wherever it wants to. You can see no pooling, no curve whatsoever. I've really picked an awful example for this, but immediately that ink ended up where I wanted it to. There was no hesitation, no deviance. So this is that kind of change, right? When you start seeing panel lines like this all around your model, it looks good and it feels good. Now, I actually don't want this to stay on there because I intend to do painting with this kit down the road. So I'm going to go... Oh no, I've made a mistake, right? Ah, jeez. I got some panel liner where I didn't want it. I want to clean it up. So before it's dry, I'm going to take a paper towel. I'm just going to apply it to the edge here. It's going to soak up some of it. A little bit of it. See, I pretty easily got it out of that side there. But now trying to do the same thing on the other side is a little tougher because that is an indentation. So, I'm going to take my brush. Kind of go back and forth over it. Okay, I've got most of it out, but not all of it. I have some fine point Q-tips, firmer bamboo, that I can use to remove ink or apply ink or remove stickers. It's got most of it, but again, there's still some in there that I can't get out. So, I have... this isn't the one I want. I have some enamel thinner. Say I let it dry, and it dried where I didn't want it. Again, airy areas, spaced out ventilated areas, enamel and lacquer are not good for your lungs. I am in a nice wide open room right now. I have a window nearby that I can crack. If you have ventilation, you will give yourself such a headache if you're not cautious. I'm going to take the tip of this Q-tip. There we go. Dip it in there, and then roll it back and forth to dry it off a bunch. Because there's a lot on here. This is still enamel. This will still embroil your plastic, so I'm going to wash it off afterwards. But with this, I can get into an area and I can remove panel liner because it's just a thinner. And in this part, I'm probably going to have to get in there with soap and water, really into that crevice. I have a toothbrush that I use specifically for the worst to reach places. I try not to mix them up, you know? You don't want to brush your face with enamel. Clear it out. Much better. So, enamel thinner or lighter fluid to remove excess panel liner or mistakes. And I don't know what that says about lighter fluid, that it has the same effect as enamel thinner, but, you know, keep in mind what you're putting in your body. I'm not going to preach at anybody. I chug Red Bull all the time. I don't want this to dry with enamel thinner on it. So I'm going to go BRB for 30 seconds. I'm going to go rinse this off real fast. I'll be right back, guys. Okay. So, drying that off right now. We've got the worst of it removed. Remember, enamel thinner can embrittle your parts. Enamel, lacquer, they can all, you know, make your plastic more prone to snapping. Just be gentle. Don't do anything in excess. Go bit by bit. And again, another thing to keep in mind, so I've just used a scribing tool. You can use, like I said, an X-Acto knife if you snap off the tip of it very carefully, if you're young, with adult supervision or assistance. But you can snap off the tip of it and sand it down just a little bit with a metal file so that you're not going to hurt yourself. And then you can use the back edge of it and create the same effect. And if you go, oh wow, I really like doing this, you can get yourself some proper tools. But again, toolboxes, you'll build up a strange one over time while modeling. You may never need to use anything more than the back of an X-Acto knife. So, while scoring this, you know, you want to keep in mind this part is thin. I don't want to go deep at all on this because I don't want to snap that thing right off. Be cognizant of how much material you have to work with when sanding, when scribing, when cutting, when doing anything that's permanent. I can't undo sanding. I can fill it back in, yeah, but that plastic is gone. So, words of wisdom passed on from somebody who's destroyed more than one part this time. Nice. Dried up nice and clean. A lot of the times if you have excess panel liner, you can actually just rub it off with a finger. If it's just a dried splotch on the surface. But if you can't, again, lighter fluid, enamel thinner, go over it very, very lightly. Use a Q-tip, use a paper towel, dry off all of the excess, because if you have any like wet dampness, and not just a superficially wet amount, it can get in there and remove the panel liner as well. Don't go with the grain. If you're trying to remove it from something like vents, go against it, so that we're just hitting the excess. So, Barbados is going to sit sideways in the corner like a good boy until I put him back up. Let's sand these parts down and get them on that kit now. I was talking with some folks last night after going into work. When you work midnights, you really don't have a lot of face-to-face interaction with many people. It's a little harder to get out and do what you want to do in the daytime. But you make your own fun because of that, right? Working mids allows me to sit down and stream here before work because I don't have many other obligations. I'm not prone to going out and drinking in the evenings, although for me it would be fully day drinking. Aside from, going to the gym a little more frequently now that I'm healing up from a slightly wonky surgery a while ago, I don't have a lot that I'd like to do besides just kind of kick it, work on these, and, maintain various other aspects of my life. But we were talking last night, like, how'd your first stream go? Oh, it was great. I was so excited. I think I ended the night with a total of 5 people kicking it with me, and I knew most, if not all of them, and that's perfect. But holy cow, my throat hurts. You could talk all day and you don't realize how much talking you're not doing in those dead spaces. But when you're ambling on and on to yourself about, oh yeah, this is a good idea for working on this, and if you want to try this technique, you realize you filled an hour and a half, 2 hours of potentially dead air by yourself, and it's a little exhausting when you don't talk that often because you're not chatting to people. You're on midnights. So this is my I'm gonna call this my workout for the day and see if my physical therapist agrees. Yappity yap. He's not. That dude's gonna make my life miserable. That's his job. I respect him for it. I really like the detail on this kit, and this is not a recent kit. It's not old. It's not recent. Which is just a testament to how good Bandai has been at their game for so long now. Nice. Did I get this one the whole way? Looks like I did. Feels like I did. I'm gonna say I did. Sand it flush again. Sandpaper doesn't last forever. It is an abrasive that you will use up over time. Even more so the higher the grit it is, right? Because to get that higher grit, your particulates and your abrasives are much, much smaller, much, much finer. So don't hesitate to swap these out often if you notice, I'm not really getting the result I need, or I have to put way too much effort into this to get the same result I was getting, half a kit ago. I keep a lot of my sanding sticks for quite a while because, like I mentioned last time, you can still get a lot of use out of them even once they're dull. They have purpose. Nice. Love it. Okay. Slap these bad boys on. Orientation looks like this, like that. Flip it over. There it is. Saying that side in first and then this side. Oh, no, it is on this side, but I've missed a second part. Oh, man. I'm off my game. Snip, snip. Snippity snip. Hey. All right. Red Bull while I work on wings. Red Bull is disgusting. It's almost a scientific wonder that they've made something that has that taste. Still drink it, but only because I'm not willing to try other caffeines. Aside from coffee at some point, right? You know, I'll have some coffee here and there. But I drink Red Bull because it tastes so gosh darn unpleasant that once it hits more than room temperature, or rather, once it hits more than fridge temperature, I'm not inclined to keep drinking it. So it dissuades me from really going at it and drinking it all day long. I only really need it when I need it, and if I'm not actively drinking it to the point where it's allowed to get warm, then I didn't really need it. Nice and gentle, back and forth. We're going to create a little flex on this sanding stick, because there's a part in here that's not quite being hit the way I'm doing it. And there we go. So, while you're sanding, usually you're going to brace your sanding stick, depending on how you're doing it, from the back. By doing that, you can inadvertently create some forward tension, and that'll create kind of a curve, a very, very gentle curve, but that's all it takes when you're working on something like this. That will prevent you from hitting the part that you want to hit while you're sanding. So sometimes I need to grab it and pull it backwards instead. Flex it in the other direction, so that I can hit what I need. And that is what's happening here. This part looks flat, but it's actually two very, 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 very slight slopes. So I want to hit both of them. Nice. I'm excited for my my pointer to heal up. I was so pumped yesterday about getting everything finally set up that I went to grab a bottle of water and some Red Bull before my stream, and I slammed it into my kitchen counter. Just full velocity, and my brain was like, that's not good for camera. Okay. This is gonna go here. Nope, that's backwards. How about that? Yeah, there we go. And there we go. Let's take these two. These two are going to go... Where do you go? Oh, I see. Okay. Slot it in like this and then bring it down. Like the directions say. Check that out. Okay. Slot it in underneath. Nope, don't go anywhere. What a curious piece. It's not a very solid connection. Now, if I want to use it for the body of the Hazel Ausla, it is saying that I need to fold some stuff up. So, fold the wings in on the bottom. What is it indicating here? It almost looks like it wants me to flip these parts out, but that doesn't quite make sense. There's a non-zero chance that I put these in backwards. That part goes there, that part goes there. Well, that's definitely the right way. And that's definitely that one. So that one's there and that one's there. And because everything else is fit together properly, I don't think I've mixed anything else up. What are you asking of me? This is something that happens every once in a while, right? Where you look at a set of directions and you go, nah, I don't know what's happening. This part theoretically spins around. Yes, there we go. But the problem now is that, oh, it's poor shading. It is accurate, but the instructions make it look like this piece is upside down when it's not. Just a slightly awkward angle because it's stanced up like that, and it's not well shaded. Okay. Now that we've done that, we pull these parts out, we angle them down, we push them up. These side pieces really don't fit together well. I'm not feeling great about that. Pull the nose here out. Okay. Swing the whole thing down. And tuck it up inside of itself. Ah. How out is out? How far do you really go? Whoa! Okay. Just the whole way through. Well, check that out. Our escape craft has become a torso. There's the backside there. Let's make sure we get that nice and flush. Rad. Okay. For explanatory purposes, some images have been omitted. Really? You mean I'm not supposed to be able to see halfway through my part? These definitely have to shift, right? They do. They slide up. Okay. I was going to say, because I can't get my arms in there otherwise. You know what? And those will stay much better once we actually have arms on, too. That makes sense. All right. So we've already got this for the collar. Now we just need a bunch of inner parts from the C-frames. Snip, snip, snip. C230. Underside of the collar. .32 and 33. fun working on a kit and seeing a bunch of parts and not being familiar with the kit or the mobile suit itself and thinking, what are you? What is this? It's for something lengthy. I can see it on the next page here. Winch cannon. I really need to better familiarize myself with the Hazel, it seems like. That'll give me something to do at work tonight. Should be a slow day. Boom, boom. That's everything. Okay. So we started on this piece last night. Let's clean it up a little bit more. There we go. No gouging. This should be fully hidden there. It is. So... oh, no, it's not. A little bit of it's going to stick out, so we're going to clean it up. This is fully hidden, but I want to make sure it fits well, so we're going to carve off that excess. And if I find out I'm wrong as well, I can always take it back apart and do it later. This is one of those things, right? You don't have to sand everything. There's no need. Clean up the sides of this real quick. This is going to be the lower part of our torso, and is generally going to be visible at all times, so... boom. Boom. Let's work on the collar first. Stay. Find where my edge is. There we go. Back and forth, circular motions, reverse it. When I'm working on a model, depending on how long I spend on it, I try to vacuum up or sweep off or really tidy out my desk space every 2 to 3 days. Mainly to clean up any loose plastic waste, because that dust will kind of accumulate over time, and it can be irritating to the skin and the eyes. You want to keep your area nice and tidy so you don't have to be itchy while you work. Go. We're going to be a little more thorough on this side because the nub marks were a little more prominent. I can feel it while I'm sanding even. Nice. Make sure that's not touchable on the underside right there. Should be good. Ooh, this track is so melancholic. Let's go to something just a little more upbeat, huh? What do we have? What do we have? Again, all music was made and provided for by Lo-Fi Geek. Check that channel out. The artist is fantastic. I love these. This is the kind of thing I crash to every night. So soothing. Perfect vibe for, hey, I'm gonna work on a model for a while, you know? Even better if it's the middle of winter. It's nice and quiet outside. You got a good heavy snow coming down and you don't have to worry about shoveling it anytime soon. That's that jam. Be nice and thorough here. Generally, the most prominent part of your model is going to be, depending on where and how you pose it, either the torso or the upper chest and neck and head. Because these are all parts of the collar, which is going to sit on top of the torso, which is where a head's going to rest. I want to be really extra thorough about this so that there are no visible discrepancies up there. That said, I'll do this for every part of my model anyways, but I do certainly add a little bit more love and a little bit more care into the torso and head. You'll see models that share legs. You'll see models that share backpacks and arms. Because that's the way of things, right? In the Gundam universe, modularity and having an excess of supplies and spare parts is always important. But from suit to suit, the chest and the head are always very unique. They're identifiers. They're the personality of the design. So we want to make sure to keep it that way. Keep them looking good. Let's test this real fast and see if it's going to be visible at all. Because if I don't have to sand these, I don't want to. There are a lot of awkward edges on there. It's going to fit like that. This is going to fit forward. Oh yeah, there's no world in which anybody sees those sides. But the back is visible, so... Ah, conundrum. You didn't see that. Unfortunately, sometimes that's the best way to remove a part. Nice, cleaned up just like that. Too easy, too easy. If you're watching this, you know, the VOD after the fact, and you're wondering about Gundam, there are so many good places to start. The show has so many seasons and so many branching offshoots. There is the original show, Mobile Suit Gundam. It takes place in the Universal Century timeline. Universal Century is where most of the shows take place. It's got the longest running concurrent timeline, you know, most series in the same universe. Mobile Suit Gundam doesn't take place in the same timeline as Gundam Wing, or G Gundam, or 00, or Seed, or Build Fighters. But Mobile Suit Gundam, Zeta Gundam, Double Zeta, Char's Counterattack, Unicorn Gundam, and then reportedly things down the line like you know, Crossbone Gundam, or what's the other one? Turn A. Those all take place in the same timeline. So if you go, I want a series to get into that's going to be easy and accessible and I don't have to overthink it, check out something like Gundam Seed or 00 Gundam or Gundam Wing. If you're a little more familiar with the universe and you want something to watch, and maybe even if you're not, I just feel you'll have a greater appreciation of it if you are familiar. But the Build Fighter series is adorable and is one of my favorites next to G Gundam. It is just folks building models, these same models, and then using them in a VR-style environment to battle one another with them. It's campy, it's fun. Think Beyblades, right? You know, watching the show, we're very like Yu-Gi-Oh-esque, but without nearly as consequential outcomes. Nobody's gonna send you to kids card game hell for losing a duel. Fun show, check it out, and enjoy it. And if you're watching a show and you're like, I don't understand what's happening here, Wikipedia. But I will say, if you want to watch the Universal Century timeline, I so strongly recommend starting with Mobile Suit Gundam, either in its original format or the 3-movie trilogy, because there's some things that are super heavily recurrent in that show that you do want to understand, because they're going to keep happening and keep popping up. You don't have to. You can fully just look it up, right? I'm not your dad. I'm not Mr. Anime. But there are some terms to familiarize yourself with. So if you find yourself watching another show in the Universal Century timeline, like you watch the movie Hathaway's Flash, which great animation, but the plot's a little confusing if you don't know what's going on. Or you watch, Char's Counterattack, or you watch Unicorn Gundam, right? You're like, they keep saying that word. What does that word mean? Just look it up. You'll figure it out. I believe in you. Mobile Suit Gundam also has a prequel story that follows another one of the characters, if you haven't seen it, called Mobile Suit Gundam Origin. And if Mobile Suit Gundam follows the quote-unquote good guys, then Origin follows the quote-unquote bad guys. And they're both worth checking out. I mean, really, if you're going to watch one, watch the other, because they're great. But I think it's easier to have a better appreciation for Origin if you watch Mobile Suit Gundam first. One, because you'll have context for why things have played out the way they have originally. And two, because Mobile Suit Gundam's animation is old. It came out 45-ish years ago. The Origin is much newer, which means you get to, I'm not going to say suffer through Mobile Suit Gundam, but I will imply it. You get to suffer through that and then reward yourself with some nice crisp animation, updated visuals, better sound design, and a new fun story. Do it. Treat yourself. Nice. We're going to snap these two halves together. Snap, snap. I say snap. They're squeeze. But you will see sometimes that a part will say snap or pop, implying, hey, if you're going to put this together, you should go until you feel some sort of pop resistance and it settles into place, because otherwise it won't be fully secure. And very rarely on the older manuals, they don't say that, and you start pushing and you feel a snap, and you go, oh boy, I just broke my new toy. Alright, it's going to slot in from the back here, it looks like. I'm seeing a part that I missed very, very, very faintly. And I'm just trying to catalog it for the future, because you can't take it off from where it's at without going through like 8 steps. And I'm not worried about that right now. I'll see it again when I go to take pictures and paint it. Nice. That is centered. I suppose it's going to slot in on the top here. We're going to get the collar in place. Nice. It's starting to look like something. A pretty busy torso, but this is also a very busy iteration of this model, so that's the point. Let's grab the missile pod. We need B1 and we need C2 and C2 and C2 and some A. Let's cut out those 2 A parts so we don't have to worry about those later. A17, A17. For those of you interested in card games and in Gundam, you may already be aware, but very recently, the second iteration of a Gundam card game has come out. And mine are currently sitting at my game shop waiting for me. I wasn't able to get the assemble kits just yet, which come with some miniatures, but I will pick up the starter decks that they have available now, and then I'll do a giveaway for those later once I get my own assemble versions. I want to have a chance to kind of check it out and see how it plays. Let's go B1. Let's grab this guy right here. Snip. Snip. And snip. Okay, and then we need B110 as well. Nice. And then B19. Snip. Get it nice and flush and cut. Do I need 11? It's for the next part. Cool. C2, 35 and 36. Oh, I'm a huge, huge fan of things like missile pods. I haven't managed to get my hands on it yet without paying a scalper's price, but the Heavy Arms Eagle unit from Gundam Wing, Glory of the Losers, is almost everything I want in a model. Big guns, a lot of big guns, and so many missile pods. I think the word for it in the Warhammer universe is DACA. Warhammer is the not Warhammer. Heavy Arms is the embodiment of needs more DACA. That boy's got guns on his guns. 39 and 40. Oh, those are for the winch cannon. Oh, okay. I was jumping the gun here. Transition's right there. So I already have everything I need. Need that, and that's it. It's just that easy. Okay. Right. Cut and cut. Cut and cut. It's a nice sturdy piece of plastic, and there's something satisfying about working on something you can grab in your hands and not have to worry about bending, snapping, or breaking. And I say that, and those are famous last words, so we're gonna go ahead and just gonna take that back real fast. Okay. Let's clean this bad boy up. Ooh, those are real close. If I sand this, I don't want to cut any edge off, so let's be very careful. Low surface area, so I don't need a lot anyways. I'm gonna use the corner of this guy so I can make sure I'm not hitting these parts jutting out from the sides. Nice. Set those over there for now. I need some arm space. Good. Nice flat edge. Same thing on the other side here, just this one guy. Nice. Okay. I think that's everything on that. Let's take a good look at this, see what's actually going to be visible. The top wheel there. Darn. Just barely. Every nub mark on this thing is going to be visible in some way, shape, or form, so we're going to clean it up fully. Sand, sand, sand. As I'm going through a kit like this, I'm thinking about what colors I want to use, what should go where, if I'm going to score it at all, and if I'm going to weather it, and if I'm going to damage it, how would it look, what are the circumstances, how did it get there, is it part of a squad, is it by itself, is it, you know, back and forth and back and forth. I started building a backstory for the design. It makes it easier to paint it, easier to personalize it. And it makes you think about things that you normally wouldn't consider when it comes to painting. I'm not going to preach on that, right? That's how I spark my creative process. You have enough time to work on the model kit. As you're working on it, you think about it. Or maybe you build it and after the fact, right? It's sitting up on your shelf and you're like, what if, right? Don't sue me, Disney. What if isn't copyrighted? Okay. Polish that back up, make sure it's not visible, so when I insert it, you can't see any of those marks. Sand, sand, sand. Sand, sand, sand. This guy up at the top is the strangest part. I don't know why it's going to be jutting out like that. Okay. I really like the shape of this piece. If I were to kit bash, I'd love to use this for something else as well. Almost looks like the front of like a very narrow APC driving along at you. We could build it out, but one kit at a time. Nice, nice, nice. I've been thinking more and more about getting into the 30-minute missions because Bionicles are dead, and that's tragic. Bionicles were my jam as a kid, and I feel like a 30-minute mission kit would be the closest thing I could get nowadays to that sort of sensation, that vibe, that freestyling. Snap that in there. Which way do you fit in here, bud? This goes like this. Hey, don't spin away from me. There we go. Nice. Once a couple stickers on there, let's slap a couple stickers on there. there's that. Let's grab another Q-tip. Because that previous one has been soaked up a little bit. Oh man. Hey, have you guys been chatting this whole time and it's not popping out properly? What's up, boys? I gotta set up timestamps. Yeah, there we go. Turns out if you try to keep the popped out chat from the previous stream, it's not gonna work properly. Yeah. Sweet. No, I appreciate that, Seth. Thank you. I'm pretty happy with how it came out. The only thing right now that I'm missing is that on this left side over here, I'll have a base set up for the models to display on when I'm done. Yeah, I think it might be just a separate instance attached to that previous live chat, and it wasn't updating there. I don't know when those bases are going to get here. Usually it's like 2-3 weeks. Sticker. Come on, I want to line this up properly. Nice. Yeah, that makes sense, Spud. That's what we were theorizing. I'll just have to make sure to close it after each stream so I don't make that same mistake again. Nice. We got some missiles for our missile pod. I have no idea where this is attaching yet, but my god, we've done it. Time to do... I'm not going to joke about war crimes. That's in poor taste. Yeah, fortunately, I don't just happen to look over. I saw you guys there. There's no way to ignore my boys. Okay, so we cut out some of the parts for the winch cannon already. Now we just need a bunch of the ones off of the C2 runner. And this monstrosity. So we're going to cut out a little farther away because this does have some weird multi-faced attachment points for the nub. Means I have to cut from below and from above. And we want to have space to do that without creating stress on the plastic. Come in from the side here. Oh, can't cut it. We're going to flip it. Boom. Boom. And actually, it's funny to think about. Seth, you are the reason I'm doing this. If I hadn't come to visit and seen what you had displayed in your area, never would have known that people still build Gundam models, or that Bandai was still putting them out. Empty runner, yay! We're gonna toss that to the side. And I wouldn't have gotten as drastically back into it. Now that said, I think I also have you to blame for not having purchased a house yet, because I discovered Gundam again. How dare you? Teehee. Alright. No nubs left there. That one's good. Alright, gray parts. I know. No, I talked about it yesterday. I talked about putting that thing together with nail clippers and how I look back on it every once in a while and think, God, I really made that. And I love it. Getting a second kit and trying to start doing the same thing and realizing immediately what a mistake that was. That was a long road trip. Did we drive out there? I feel like we took a train. I got real lost during that trip. I think I was like asleep the whole time. That's crazy. Little to no recollection of that day. Just remember bumming around the embassy and getting stuck in the Starbucks because my stomach hurt so badly. Oh no. Yeah, and then we drove home, and I think that night, yeah, that's what... Dude, the Red Astray is my favorite. not only was it my first, boy's got a big-ass sword. Red Astray Andy. Fuck, that's funny. C235. It's such a good sword. It's such a big sword. And at some point I'll I'll show off on stream my collection of Astrays that now reside atop the bookshelf. But I have one of each relevant one, being red, blue, black, and white. I do too, Spud. That was a terrible game, but it was more fun than anything that Bandai has actually put out. And the fact that I lost access to it only because I went to reinstall BlueStacks because I was having issues, and that's how we found out, that was a tragic day. I mean, that is what formed our first Discord server as well. The iteration before this one. I just remembered that I forgot to confirm why Nightbot isn't sending messages. He should be shouting out. No, he's not working. Okay. I'll have to figure that out later. Oh, okay. Slowpoke. There he is. It should be shouting that out every half hour or so, and it's not. 27. Get a good cut on that. And a good cut on that. $38 I've got already. 21 I need. 21 is there. This is one hefty piece of equipment. And my first thought immediately while cutting this out is, how imbalanced is this model going to be once it's done? Just weight-wise. Because this is going to be a dense amount of plastic in one space. My god. Yeah, 100%. Chonky lad. I mean, I don't know if you can really appreciate the side view over here, right? That's a fat boy. I'm excited to see it all come together. 22, 26, 28, 29. Six. I don't know if you did. Drop it in the server so I can see this. Let me see the caked up Bionicle. For no specific reason. No, I firmly believe that you commissioned it now. Like, you are the reason it exists. You said, hey, I need a caked up Bionicle. Show me the BBL of Mott Nui. $22. Hey, don't type. You're on a raid right now. Go deal with that. I don't say bad words. These are false accusations. This is my good Christian Gundam stream where we discuss politics, war crimes, and giant robots. But only in the context of Gundam. Do I need part 34 anywhere? 26, 38, 39, 40, 24, 27, 21, 41, 22, 26, 28, 29, 37. Two more yellow parts there. 23, 25. Well, looks like I got them. Okay. Hey, Spud, no you haven't. Not on this stream. I don't know what you're talking about. I've never said anything inappropriate on this stream in my life. There we go. Get that cut out there. Goodness, we have a bunch of parts, and I've only got about 20 minutes for today. We'll make it through what we can, but I'm feeling pretty expeditious. Let's see if we can pull this off. I'd stay a little longer just to finish it, but I'm picking up Chinese food for myself and the boys tonight at work, and also my Gundam decks, which means I'm going to be getting it a little close, and I don't want to make my my day team wait for me to relieve them so they can go home. That's just rude. That's going to take a lot of sanding to fix. Looks like I was overzealous when I cut this part out. I forget how soft and brittle the gray parts can be sometimes. Okay. Should be good. Cut. I low-key want to see if I can mass order like a bunch of Bionicles and just play with those on stream for a week or so. That sounds like fun. I've got some Lego sets I want to work on too. Gosh, I have so much I can stream. Look at this. That's gonna take a while to sand down. Nice, okay. And that's a nice small little piece. Surface area is low, easy to clean up. Same thing there. Oh, I felt it. There it is. Got that one. Currently at work, I'm working on the Perfect Grade Unleashed RX-78, and that kit is a beauty. I'll bring it home and take pictures once it's done. I was assembling that with the intent of taking it apart and painting it again later. But the feet on that kit, and I watched videos to make sure it wasn't just me, the feet on that kit don't really like to go together. They really don't like to come back apart. So, I got that first foot together and immediately realized how shafted I was. So if I want to do it again down the road, I'll need a second kit. But I think I'll be more cautious with the new one coming out. And by new, I mean literally new, NU, new Gundam. Okay. I'm excited to work on that once it arrives, because that is going to be a monstrosity of a kit. It's our first time getting a perfect grade of the new Gundam. We've been begging for it for decades. And we got it in the coolest form possible. I'm so excited. Which means before that new Gundam shows up, somebody's at my door. I'll be right back. Sorry about that, folks. Somebody wanted to sell me doorbells. Strange. No, I, door-to-door salesman. I get probably 2 of those a year. Which, pretty low numbers. I'm okay with that. However, if Spud got 2 of those a year, I think he'd be panicking. Yes, for real. Specifically, right, like I have Ring doorbells on the way. You know, something to kind of keep my place clean and covered from the front and the back. And he was offering security, his own company's situation. And I don't need that. I don't trust that. Yeah. Let me look this company up now that it's in my head. Okay, it exists. It's not just a thing. Okay. Oh no, here's the image of a Bionicle from Seth. Why? That's so funny. Okay. Okay. I mean... That's wild. I mean, we know the answer is because you can, right? Nothing brings out creativity like turning your childhood toys into something remarkably inappropriate. A caked up cat-eared Bionicle. I'd laugh about it, but I've seen people make some strange Gundam models. Shaving it down. There we go. Let's see. That one's just gonna get sanded. Oh no, I don't know where I cut this other one out from. I'm gonna pretend I didn't read that, Seth. I don't want to know about the Sexy Bionicle subreddit. Where are the nub marks for this? There's one, it looks like. I see them, okay. Teacher, I don't want to learn anymore. I choose to unsubscribe from your class. You could stop. You don't have to keep scrolling. Like, it's okay. It's gonna be alright, bud. I lied. You do have to keep scrolling because I'm not going to. So you have to report back to class. Report's due tomorrow. 2 pages. No. You can't stop now. You're in the trenches. You're our man behind the lines. Infiltrate the Sexy Bionicle subreddit. Take down the regime. Gundam superiority and all that. Now I'm thinking about it too. You know what? Unopened Bionicle. Whoa! That's expensive. Oh no.
I mean, I make decent money. I don't make that kind of money. Oh. Yeah, I mean, that's the best part about creativity, right? You don't need to draw when you can make it. Yeah, I mean, forget full sets. I saw some of them just casually like $1,500 to $10,000. Like, what? Like, one of the most unattractive looking Bionicles I've ever seen that I don't recognize. It's like $225 just for a single one. I'm good. I'm really good. I'm devastated, truly. They need to do like a re-release or a rerun, but we got what we got, and that cash cow is done, so. Yeah, definitely not finishing this part tonight, unfortunately. And since I haven't done any real work, what we're going to do is we're going to finish shaving down the rest of these pieces that need some love before the real sanding starts, and we'll set them up for tomorrow. We'll take care of it then. Good. Good. And that one's already good. I wonder why. I guess, like, Ninjago is the thing that replaced Bionicle. I don't know much about it besides that. I feel like LEGO doesn't really understand how hard they could nail it if they tapped into the Bionicle market again. Like, all the millennials with, you know, tech jobs now are like, yeah, let me tap back into my childhood autism and build these. I will buy your entire collection, please. Like, honestly, even if they added nothing new and they just re-released what used to be out, I would drop a non-significant amount of money to get my hands on them. That stuff defined how I go about making things nowadays. That, and now I want to play Wind Waker because that was that same era, and oh my god, I've got the itch. I don't think I've ever fully finished Wind Waker. That's no good. Got me thinking about the Grumps now, too. It's a stubborn part there. I mean, justifiably so, right? Wind Waker's got a beautiful game system, beautiful gameplay loop, great combat, fantastic music. Just, God, that game, dude. And I'm not like a massive Legend of Zelda fan. I've played most of the games, but I don't think I've 100%ed any of them. And I've beaten maybe 3 of them. I still have a huge appreciation for Wind Waker. One of the few games I have 100%ed is Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages. I think I hated those games because of the digging mechanic. It was traumatizing. Oh yeah, for sure. Just coasting around in your little boat. And talking mad trash to every pirate you came across. Digging up treasure, finding new islands. That was the coolest open world exploration, without a doubt. Nice. And I think I already got this guy. I did. I got that guy. Okay. Let's go ahead and box up some tools so I don't sit down tomorrow and stab myself on something. Yeah. Good, good, good. Everything's in one spot. All right. Okay, I'm going to call it there. I'll be back tomorrow. Last time this week. Thanks for kicking it, guys. We'll see you tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central. Have a great night. And work hard and do good. Yeah. Bye.